Welcome, ladies, to Write Your Story, your holiday story that's a keeper. And as I go along, please share in the comments. I'm not sure we'll be able to see them, but I can look at them later. And imagine we all have a story. Maybe it's a story you look forward to, or one that you don't look forward to around the holidays about what it's like for you. What's going on. So imagine you're in the middle of a divorce or you've already had one and it's the holidays, and it's time to decorate the house. You're in your living room and you have all your boxes around you and you're just looking at those boxes and all the decorations and all the memories and the things that you hold close to, like the ornaments that your kids made. These all hold memories of a time that you once had. And as you open up the boxes and, you may not even have it in your heart. You really don't want to decorate, but, you want to do it for the kids or for the family or just to put on a good face. And so you go through the motions. But, as you pick up another ornament or something else that holds that memory, you feel those tears in the back of your eyes, and you've decided that this year don't want any Christmas music because they hold too many memories and emotions, so it's just better not to have any music playing. And so, just in case anyone comes in or calls you, you just, okay, I'm going to muster up everything I can to get through this holiday, knowing your heart's not in it. It's never going to be the same. And this is a story you're telling yourself. This is how holidays are going to be from now on. This is how birthdays are going to be from now on. Everything has changed. So how do you turn this story of surviving the holidays, just getting through the holidays, into one that's a keeper? It's like you want to what is it going to take to have this year, this holiday season be one that you do want to remember? That's a keeper. So let's look at what's happening internally. A little science, a little bit of like, the wisdom behind there, not just, saying what is there, but what's really going on so that you can create a renewed sense of control of your destiny, of how you celebrate the holidays, not just the decorations, but how you show up, what you look forward to. Even when, the deck the halls with boughs of holly, pa la 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 la, even though they're echoing with a little bit of emptiness, that you can fill that emptiness with what you want now. So let's look at what's happening right now. There's like a story that you've already decided the outcome of, right? You already had this little dialogue with yourself that maybe you weren't tuning into or listening, that this is going to be hard. It's not going to feel the same. It's never going to be the same. I'm going to be alone. Like maybe people will come, but it's not going to be the same because you don't have your family there. So when a woman experiences the holidays after divorce, her mind often creates this narrative before anything ever happens. And you've already decided, even before any of the decorations are done, you've already decided. And this is your brain using kind of what is called predictive coding. You've already predicted what the future is going to be like, what you can expect the outcome to be. And so since you already have that expectation, you're already creating your future to match that past, that belief. So like all of the triggers, the songs, the decorations, the memories, the people that call you up and start wishing you happy holidays or Merry Christmas is like, that's going to be not going to Merry Christmas for me. And, it's just like this proof. It's this anchor that you have that your story is true. Not because you're being negative. It's because your nervous system is wired to replaying the only story it knows, because there isn't this new story yet. So you're trapped in this emotional loop of this predictive coding that's shaping an old story that hasn't been rewritten yet. So the past, it's like your past is still running your present. So, the holiday moments are activating this deep emotional memory. This actually might be memories from your own childhood that maybe your parents ended their relationship and you thought, nope, this is going to be different for me and my kids. This is what it was for me. It's like, yeah, I want to have this new type of family that we have our traditions and are going to be long, long into the future. And So it could be childhood memories of your own or traditions long ago that you wanted to see through with your family. There, these memories of stored away dreams of, even, grandchildren, whatever it was that you had, the future that you had planned for is no longer there. The expectations of how life was supposed to be. And so holding on to these memories, these deep emotional wounds, this creates resistance to the change. Like we're not able to really move on. So we hold on to the old rituals, maybe even blaming others for what we don't have or what you do have right now. And again, you put on that mask to get through the season because people are going to be arriving, they're going to be calling you. So you just put on this mask. It's like, okay, I just got to get through the holiday. So your nervous system is still wired to the past, to that version of your life that isn't any longer. And this really makes most things even feel more overwhelming. So the past continues to linger because your body and your mind haven't released the old meaning attached to the holidays. So without having this new future that you're creating, the present can really feel empty, even though like you're still living in the past, but there's this sort of in between place. So the present right now, this moment feels empty. So when your divorce erases the future you once picture for yourself, your brain loses its eternal compass. It's like it was pointing north. It knew how to go north when you were in your relationship, but now you have this divorce, so it doesn't know where north is anymore. So without this new vision to latch onto, this compass, this north compass pointing you, the mind falls back into what it knows. Even if it hurts, even if it's uncomfortable, even if there's a lot of pain, it's what's familiar, it's what you know. So this is why you feel stuck and you struggle to create new traditions for yourself, like new possibilities, or believe this belief that nothing good can replace what was lost. Like what was lost is gone, and that's the way it's going to be, and you're just never going to have anything new, something to look forward to. This is simply, it's this like you haven't created the future, so there isn't this new narrative to grab onto, to look forward to anticipate. So until you decide to create a vision, a new future for what comes next for you, your past will continue filling the space where your future belongs because you haven't allowed the future to exist. So there's this gap. Imagine you're on a bridge and you're on one side of the bridge and your future is on the other side of the bridge and you've got to pass over the bridge, but you don't know how to get across the bridge, right? So right now, what's familiar by living in the past feels safe. Even, if it's triggering and it's painful, it's known and the body wants to hold on to what it knows and what's familiar. So when you try to imagine a new future, okay, I'm going to, just going to create new traditions and, I'm going to do something new. It's like, the body's like, no, no, we don't do new. So it tightens up, you might even be aware of a visceral response, it's called, or a somatic response. But if you're kind of checked out because you're feeling really overwhelmed, your instincts pull back because your body is tightening. It's like you start living in your head instead of your body because it's not safe to feel, right? It's not safe to feel this thing that's unfamiliar. So these reactions aren't resistance. They kind of are resistance, but they're more like a protective response that keeps you safe. So the mind creates the thoughts like, okay, I'm not ready. Nope. Okay, I just got to get through this one, and then maybe next year I can, like look forward to that. Or what if it gets worse, right? Like, so it's more comfortable to stay with where you are right now and what you know, because we can't handle the unknown. It's like we don't know what that looks like, even though it's like, well, it can't get any worse. Well, the unknown can feel like it's worse because so we have this shield that we put around ourselves to protect us from the unknown, what will come next, even though it's here. But we just like, no, I'm not going to embrace that. I'm not going to, try that. So you're trapped between the comfort of what's familiar and known with the uncertainty of what's ahead. So you're stuck in this gap where your fears feel safer than a new possibility. So I don't know, are you feeling this right now? during this holiday season, like, the year is finishing and the new year is beginning. And so this, however long ago your divorce was, or maybe you're in the middle of it and however long it's going to take, it's like you're in this in between place. So yeah, put in the comments, if you're watching this even as a replay, where do you feel trapped? Are you trapped in the past, or you have like kind of one foot on the bridge, wanting to move forward? But oh, I don't know if maybe you need someone like to help you across or whatnot. So these unprocessed emotions keep you anchored to the past. And in this stage, the emotional attachment that you've been carrying hasn't been fully identified. Because, like, when you can identify that, then you start to put focus on it so it can't kind of hide, right? So, when you end a relationship, just like most things that when they end, there's this grief that occurs. But if you haven't allowed yourself to have this grief process, or to express the grief, the sadness, the disappointments, all the things, even the anger, that you haven't even validated yourself with your anger or sadness, the loneliness, um, even, you dare not hope um, about the future because that feels too foreign. You can't trust that. So there's all these emotional attachments to the past. So letting go can feel like you're betraying a past version of yourselves, especially when the holiday memories are tied to that childhood, your family, your role in the family, the dreams that you kind of just tucked away till someday. That, well, I guess those won't happen because the relationship isn't there anymore. So it's almost like a betrayal of yourself. Like, oh, like you only know this version of yourself, and until you step into this new version, you need to replace it. You need to have that bridge again. So you cling to those old identities. Maybe it's the old identity as a peacemaker in the family, trying to hold everyone together when there's, conflict. Like, you were the peacemaker. You're the one that self-sacrificed or self-sabotage, just so that you could feel like you were in control in some ways. Maybe you were the caretaker, the one who kind of kept everyone happy, everything running, because this role was familiar for you, but it doesn't fit anymore because that family dynamic isn't there. So these unmet emotions, old identities that are trapping you in place, until you acknowledge what they are, what's there, moving forward really feels like emotionally unsafe. Yes, you're going to move forward. You're going to move through the motions of all the sort of external things that you need to do, but inwardly, you still feel emotionally unsafe. So you grab a hold of, you grasp what even though it's definitely not comfortable, right? So awareness begins when you have that awareness, it starts to be the bridge that you cross over to bridge the gap. And the first shift that comes when you pause long enough, like when you eavesdrop in on the story that you've been telling yourself, you pause long enough and you say, these are some questions you can ask yourself. What am I telling myself? Okay, what story am I telling myself about what you can or can't do? What are you feeling right now? Allow those emotions even just to come up a little bit, just so you can identify them. And, sometimes we don't have a very large emotional vocabulary. So even if it's just sad or angry, all the kind of like the sort of surface level emotions, even if that's where you're at right now, because you've been stuffing your emotions for a long time, just kind of, what are you feeling right now? And what do you need that you've been ignoring? What are your needs? What matters to you that you've put aside to be the peacekeeper? And what beliefs about yourself are shaping your experience now and your future? So, like, this moment awareness helps you interrupt the autopilot that you've been on, because it's this pattern that we're in. It's like on autopilot. When this happens, we react. We know it's automatic. We don't think about it. The body just knows how to respond. So that's why this unknown part at the other side of the bridge is so scary. It's because, well, I don't know how to react to that. I don't know how to respond to that. And so you interrupt this autopilot, and it gives you a new anchor. This new way of a possibility of making a new choice, not from the past, but what's happening right now and what's possible. So this self-awareness is very powerful. It creates the bridge between who you've been being, who you've been being, and who you're becoming. Again, that new role, that new version of yourself that hasn't been allowed to exist for whatever reason. Like you're opening a door to a new narrative as another author, right? So so the next thing that we go to is that next chapter because you want to write this story that's a keeper, this holiday story that's a keeper. And the way to do that as being the author, like a new author of this story. Some authors, they'll have a series of books in a certain style, and then you won't hear from them for a long time, and then all of a sudden, a new series comes out, but it's very different than the other ones. It's kind of like, oh, they went like through this transformation, this diving in to see what comes out on the other side. So your past can become a passageway for you. So instead of being a prison, that you're stuck in a cage, right? You cross over this bridge like a passageway, and in this stage, the past is no longer something you cling to or you're fighting against. It becomes this place, this passageway that you graduate from. You think about maybe your kids or yourself when you started off in university. You were a certain age and you were a teenager, right? And then over the course of 4 years or maybe more, um, you go through this passageway of becoming more of an adult, an individual, because you're not living at home anymore, all the things. So you graduate into this new becoming. And so it's kind of like divorce, right? You were this one person when you entered the relationship, and then maybe you formed these patterns with the other person and you just stay there stuck. But until the divorce was over and you were no longer with that person, you couldn't, it wasn't a passageway. So the divorce becomes that passageway. So maybe you look back with a little gratitude, maybe try to muster up a little gratitude for what you learned, for that person that you didn't allow to exist or to have a voice. You were letting other people write your book, your story, instead of you writing your own story. So, having some gratitude and just, appreciation for, wow, like being in this new place, crossing over the bridge, you start to see it's like, well, I denied myself that. I sabotaged my dreams and I allowed this, I tolerated that. So you carry those learnings forward without needing to be attached to them or make it mean something like with the emotional attachment. You can start to let go of the meaning that you made, the patterns that you were in. It's like this unspoken agreement that you have with the other person, because when they do this, you do that. When you do that, they do this. So that pattern is broken. It's like, oh, there's all these new possibilities now. The expectations that once defined you, that you assigned maybe to yourself, are no longer there. So the patterns begin to shift. Your old reactions, they start to lessen. They're not needed anymore. The emotional loops, they start to slacken. Like the reactivity instead. And so now you start to respond and you start recognizing what you truly need, what you need for yourself, not what you've been conditioned to accept or believe that this is all you need, right? Well, I only need that. It's like, I only need a little of this or that. It's like, yeah, but you want this for yourself. So the past becomes like a doorway that you walk through, not this weight you're dragging behind all the time. So you start to reclaim your voice, start to identify what your needs are and your standards. I remember when I first got married, I had a fairly high standard for organization and cleanliness. And now there's this other person in my life. And so, okay, well, they have some different habits. Okay, fine. If things are left out on the counter, that's okay. So I changed my standards from what was familiar for me and what I liked. So so as you step into this new authorship rather than autopilot, you step into this new authorship, you start tuning into your intuition that you used to ignore. There did be that little nudge you would get, right? And you'd like, shh, be quiet, and you would go on into autopilot. So now you start to tune into that intuition, and what becomes clear are your needs, like the need for rest or for things that light you up, right? That expression. What lights you up? Um, what is important to you? Like whether that's support, friends, hobbies. What do you value? What do you value that consideration? Like what is it in your life that you need and you value that becomes like the landmarks that help guide you? What will you no longer tolerate? It's like other people's behavior. Yes, that's who they are, but there's like, do we have to accept that and reduce what it is that we need? Um, what must be honored in relationships? So something I call their core values, right? By knowing the core values, this is what you need, what you value, what you accept of yourself, what you honor about yourself, and honoring others. So you're actually, as you come to know yourself more, you can start to teach others how to treat you. Because all along, you were what you were allowing was how to teaching others how to treat you by what they wanted, not necessarily by what you wanted. So you begin making choices that align with your own convictions, your own standards, your own needs, even when it feels unfamiliar. Because they weren't there before, or maybe they were, but then you shut them off. So now they're coming back. So this is a moment that your inner authority returns. So you stop letting others write your life story. You start writing your own life story. You become the author and you start asserting what matters to you most. So this is a story that's a keeper. So when you build, you can build emotional freedom through this resilience and nurturing yourself. And resilience is like, this is a new pattern, right? So it's like you take a little step and you take another little step. And yes, there might be pushback. There might be, people who know you a certain way, right? You're teaching other people how you want to be treated. So there's going to be some resistance from others, maybe even resistance to yourself. It's like, okay, you stand up and be strong, and you be the author. It doesn't mean like everything is instantly easy, obviously, because you're going through this transition. It means that you're practicing staying present, even though it's uncomfortable, while you're building this new pattern, this new way of showing up. Because now you're getting on the other side of that bridge, like you've crossed the gap, and so you're nurturing your energy so that your soul feels lighter, not a burden. And when I say your energy, it's like, yeah, there's going to be days where as you transition out of this divorce over the months and years, your energy is going to be high, it's going to be low, but you stay the course, you stay true to yourself. And slowly you discover this like emotional freedom, the freedom that you feel like you identify those emotions, and then you start expressing them. You start acknowledging yourself for how you're feeling. Um, you know, Looking back, it's like, okay, can you forgive yourself for the self abandonment, sacrifices, the choices that you made, and yeah, I wish I was this more, and I wish I didn't do that. It's like it's in the past. Again, just take what you can learn from it so that you can grow and move on, and this freedom can begin. This new type of freedom within your own self can begin. So forgiveness isn't about excusing anyone's past or even your own. It's just about freeing yourself from it. Freeing that, it's like the would have, should have, could have. It's like it's in the past. If knowing, in hindsight, what can I learn, right? What do I know now? So you become the woman who holds her own emotions. You tend to your own heart. And this is like you're having compassion for yourself in this whole new way. You're again building this like nurturing, self-nurturing place, honoring yourself and building that resilience. Again, as you write this new story, this new holiday story, the new traditions that, yeah, like you maybe carry forward the old traditions. Some of them, the tree decorating, or maybe you have a different kind of tree. Instead of having the giant one, you'd have a smaller one. Um, Maybe you go to a destination for your holiday. Like you can decide. You are the author now of how you want this holiday to be written, the story of your holiday to be written. That's a keeper. So here's what I want you to take from today. Right now, your mind may be telling a story that the holidays are going to be hard. Your past may still feel louder than your future. And this all makes perfect sense. Again, just the neurology that's happening. Your body's holding on to the memories, the roles, the expectations that you maybe didn't get to choose, or you didn't get to choose to let go of. It could have been decided for you, this divorce. So you're in the gap between what was familiar and what's next. And in that place, that space, the old emotions can resurface, the old identities you can cling to, and hope, that hope or that a future can feel dangerous. It can just feel uncertain because it's unfamiliar. But the moment you pause and you really listen to yourself, right? Asking again, it's like, what are you feeling? What do you need? What story are you repeating? Or are you not going to be repeating? You begin to bridge the gap. So where are you at with where are you today with your story? Is there a story that you don't want to let go of? Because yeah, maybe there are wonderful memories there, and what it would be like to hold on to those memories and then start creating new ones. Like imagine if a parent passed away, um, you know, they're not there anymore. So it's like we can hold on to those wonderful memories of opening gifts or visiting and all the meals and the traditional meals. You can hold on to those memories, and they can be a source of great happiness for you. Or you can decide to just hold on to them as something that's a burden. So it's your choice. You are the author now of the story that you hold on to or the story that you create. And so you get to become the author. The past isn't your home anymore. It's changed. It's no longer there. The memories can continue, the happy ones. It's just a chapter that you graduated from. And so you get to choose the new traditions, the new boundaries, knowing what it matters to you and what you need. These new boundaries, you're teaching others what you need and how to be treated. And these moments are what matters now. You get to honor your needs, really tap into that intuition of yours, that, trusting your intuition and make choices that reflect who you're becoming as you start showing up every day more and more for yourself because you're crossing that bridge, that gap, right? So the holiday season isn't about surviving. You can make it all about that, but it also can be a new beginning, about creating this life for yourself that you're moving into. It's this new story, something that feels really true and aligned for you. So you're a woman returning to herself. Maybe you've come full circle. Maybe you never really had a sense of who you were. So now you're really stepping into this next chapter, this next story. Is like, who do I want to become? Who am I? How do I want to show up, right? In your own voice, with your own personality. And when you do that, this is a story that's going to be a keeper for you. And so I'm providing you with a free core values assessment. You can find this in the comments. I'll put the link there. And this is like a starting place where you can start creating those new traditions you look forward to from this new version of yourself. So thank you for being with me today. I'm Joyce Ayers, Heart-Centered Divorce Coach, certified in the Conscious Uncoupling Method. And yeah, leave your comments, questions, and I look forward to supporting you on your journey. Be well and happy holidays, Merry Christmas, however you celebrate, and whatever you celebrate. Be well. Take care.